Hi.
Hi.
Thomas. I've not met you before, so hello. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We're talking about Monday night. Are you expecting a feisty West London derby?
Yeah, definitely. My experiences of playing against Fulham has always been feisty and very good games. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. I know our fans look forward to it. Me, coaching staff, players, we know how important it is for all the fans. And what a moment in Fulham's history and our history to face each other in the best league in the world, both teams in the top half. I'm pleased with that. Also for Fulham, because that just makes it a little bit more bite to the game, and I think it's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, you're both in fantastic form at the moment, and there's barely anything separating you in the table. So could you take me through the team news and any injury concerns?
Yes, Strakosha still out. Pontus Jansson and Onyeka are both in contention to be involved in the squad for Monday. Yeah, that's the latest. The rest of it, so it's good.
Okay. Just as discussed, I can't come here and not do my job properly if I don't ask you about Ivan Toney and the publicity this week. He's addressed it himself. Now, it is a private FA investigation, so I know there's various aspects you can't talk about. But how much of a distraction has it been for you and for the team?
I would say most importantly is Ivan, and he's amazing in many aspects, and the way he cope with pressure or distraction, and this is of course a bigger one, is amazing. This, I can't remember, it's been ongoing since November, and he actually just carried on scoring goals, performing for the team, driving the team, so remarkable. The squad, we are 11 games unbeaten, so I guess that's a decent response to how the squad and I guess myself cope with it. It's like life, sometimes things get thrown at you and you need to deal with it. I would say that we share the disappointment of Ivan in terms of the leaks. That is for a confidential case, so that surprised me massively, or us. The timing of the leaks, just before the World Cup, just before the March international team. The talk about that there is a potential ban as long as up to 6 months. That disappoints us. And then it disappoints us, and we share the disappointment of Ivan, that it's talked about Ivan should train badly with the England squad. What is that? You can't have it's his first time with the England squad. I've never met a player that don't want to do everything they can out there on the training pitch. I've never met a player that don't want to do badly well to impress the gaffer. And I can only talk about Ivan, that what I see out here every day and around the place. He's a fantastic person. Around the group, he got that unique emotional intelligence to be aware of the lowest player and to the top players and every staff members, and he trained well. And for me, he's clearly number 2 in England as a striker. He's proven with the goals and performances.
Can I just pick you up on the fact that you mentioned the FA and disappointment there?
I didn't mention the FA.
Oh, sorry. You said the disappointment at leaks that have come out.
Yeah.
Where is that disappointment then? Who are you disappointed with?
I don't know. I just know there's leaks coming out, and it will be too big of a news if I accused anyone specifically, because we don't know that. We just share the disappointments that the leaks are coming out.
As you've mentioned, I mean, Ivan Toney has been outstanding for you, so it clearly hasn't affected him on the pitch. Has he spoken to you about the whole investigation going on and his feelings?
Of course, we as a club do our very best to help our players, and of course there's been talks with me and Ivan, and and Phil Giles about the situation and try to manage it in the best possible way. Of course, the details in it we'll keep for ourselves, of course.
The prospect of losing Ivan Toney, I mean, you're going to get a lot of questions about him because he is so pivotal to the team. Are you concerned about potentially losing him from the pitch?
Yes, is of course the answer. I don't. Tottenham without Kane, City without Haaland, or Arsenal without Jesus. That you know they solved that quite well. So of course we want our best players or best strikers in the team, but I also build that way if they are not in the team. He could be injured. You know, last year he was out 5-6 games. So that can happen. Then we need to find another solution. And the one game where he was out against Liverpool, we did quite well, and Wissa stepped in. So the good news is that we have other good players.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you're not a one-man team. Just before I stop talking, do you know if there's a ban, when that could start? Have you had any information about that?
No, I don't know anything about that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Seb. Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
11 games unbeaten in the Premier League. Can you just talk us through how you use that in your speech to the team? We know there's been like Arsenal with the Invincibles. Obviously, you're not doing that, but
Hey, why not? Okay, that's because it's a season. Okay.
Do you sort of say we can't lose the next game? We have to stay unbeaten. Do you put that extra pressure on them?
No, I actually don't speak about winning or losing. I speak about performing well, and I'm speaking about if we do our job and we perform well, then we will have a good chance to win. Of course, it's a Premier League, the greatest and most difficult league in the world. So the margins are so small. And speaking about our opponent on Monday, you know, they are historically a bigger club than us. I think they are also, for a fact, with fans, finances, everything bigger than us. And they are higher in the table than us right now. So the margin is this. We know and believe in ourselves that if we do well, we have a good chance of winning and getting 3 points. So it's try to keep reinforcing the right messages in terms of on the performance aspect, how we need to constantly work hard. For me, that's the key thing. We can't be complacent. We can't think it'll come by itself. So those are the bits I try to reinforce constantly. And it's a mess to be a head coach because you should be on top of the world. You know, we are touch wood. Everyone is fit. We're doing well. We have the confidence. Why not just go out and play? Which of course I try to transmit to the players. And then I'm worried. Are we losing the next one? So that's part of being a head coach.
You lost 3-2 in the first leg.
What a game, by the way. Great game.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask.
No, sorry.
Do you think we'll have a similar game again, or do you think some areas have changed?
I think for the spectators, yes, and hopefully with the opposite result, that would be fantastic. That we were winning 3-2 with a almost last-minute winner, that would be fantastic. It was a game with two good teams in it, and Mitrovic decided to finish the game off like he's done many times, and he of course is a massive player for them, and I think he's very, very good. I think it'll be a very intense game. It's two teams that want to press with intensity and work very hard in many ways. So hopefully we can edge it this time.
When I look at your starting lineups in the past few games, I've noticed that Wissa is playing every other game. Is that a coincidence or is it thought through?
That must be a coincidence. I think it's because maybe we changed for 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2, and then this moment in time he's just narrowly dropped out because Bryan and Ivan have this unique relation, but also because both of them are performing.
Finally, you mentioned recently again how ambitious you are. You know, the top 7 in the Premier League. You've still got to play some of the giants of this league. Does this mean that games against teams like Fulham who, despite being in the top, are more sort of reachable teams than the Giants?
I don't think so. I think the Crystal Palace game is a very good example. They were not in the best run of form. They missed their key player in Zaha. We faced them 10 games unbeaten at home, where we've been really good this season. We couldn't get it really going. Crystal Palace did well, 1-0 up, and it was on the last, hanging in there that we got the equalizer. I hope it's not going to be the same on Monday. I hope we can be more on top of the game. But the level and the margins between, I would say, the bottom 13 teams, where we are one of them, there's the top 6 and then Newcastle. The rest of us, it's the smallest of margins that are deciding game. And hopefully we can get on those margins and win on Monday.
Thanks, Tom.
Welcome.
Anything else for immediate embargo? Phil, I presume?
Tom's afternoon.
Afternoon, Phil.
Just reflecting on what happened earlier in the season and the closeness of that game. Did the game and the way that it sort of ended reflect how both teams go about wanting to win, rather than because Brentford or Fulham could have accepted a draw in that game?
Yeah.
It probably would have been a well-earned point for both.
Yeah.
But you didn't seem that enthusiastic to do it.
No, and I was, of course, thinking back, it's crazy because you need to trust the processes and what you're doing. And we went very offensive, and we got the equalizer. And I went for the 3-2, and it bounced a little bit back, and we lost 3-2. But I think it's important that we have our offensive mindset, because if we do it enough times, hopefully we then get 3 instead of 2 points. But I think actually it was a draw. That would have been a good, fair result for both, but fair play to Fulham.
And the rivalry between the clubs has had its historical periods where there's been a rivalry and then not, and then recent years, obviously, with what happened at Wembley, in front of no one apart from us who were there. And then, of course, for the start of it, and then the flip-flop with Brentford going up and Fulham coming down, and then obviously this season. How much do the squad sort of these days, with sort of footballers who maybe come from all over the world, how much do they actually sort of realise or understand that it's still got that little keenness about it?
This squad definitely do, for various reasons. One of them is that from that playoff final 2.5 years ago-ish, 2 years and 8 months, I think we have David, Rico, Ethan, Pontus, Josh, Matty, Christian, Brian. 8 players that played in that playoff final. That's actually incredible. And now these 8 players are, in this moment, a snapshot of the table in the top half of the Premier League. That's unbelievable praise to those 8 and the rest who's coming in, of course, and the rest who's doing a good job. To our recruitment department, and a little bit of praise to the coaching staff and the staff for doing a top job as well, so we can compete there. So I think all that also linked. We had some fantastic 2 other games that season, and they definitely understand how big a derby it is. So some of the other London derbies, don't misunderstand me, it also means something, but this definitely for me and for us, this means more.
And talk about the coaching staff and sort of skirting around one of the big issues, which is knocking around. There could be so many reasons why a player is missing for a short period of time or a longer period of time. For your coaching philosophy and how you organise your squad, how important is it to have adaptability individually, but also squad-wise, to cope with the fact that your plans may be changed at the last minute or changed for a period of time?
It's important. I think I like to have some specialist in the roles we want to play, like a clear winger, 1-on-1 player, or a deep runner, or the midfielder who's clear 6. Or some can play the 6 and the 8, like Vitali, for example. And I think that flexibility is very important, especially to try to change games or for specific tactical task, or in situation where you're missing a player or 2 key players. So, for example, the season when we got promoted, suddenly Rick was out, and like Dalsgaard was out, and then we didn't have the full backs that we thought were up to speed in the way we wanted to play. So we changed the system to a 3-5-2, and that had that other players, other roles, other qualities came in to place, and they performed.
And away from, just one final question from me, away from sort of Brentford, I mean, obviously there's a lot of talk about Newcastle United and ownership, and you've spoken a lot about the business of football, and I know that's something that takes an interest in you as well, that there's calls for it to be looked at again from the Premier League. The way that other clubs are run, the way that other clubs, what they're bought, does that have any influence over you? Do you take any interest in that?
It's a big question, Phil.
Sorry.
On a Friday afternoon here.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would like was that the more clarity as possible for ownership, of financial fair plays, as all those rules, the more clarity. So it's clear what is allowed and not allowed. And there's no doubt we know money rules in the world and also in the football world. Luckily, it's not only about money. It's also strategy and football knowledge and leadership and all that. That's good to really get some top-performing clubs on teams. But it means something. So we just need to define what is allowed and not allowed. That's clarity. So one word, clarity.
Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else under immediate embargo? Jay?
I might ask one quickly. It might be another big question though. It's on betting actually, because there was a kind of image that went round, and obviously Brentford is sponsored by Hollywood Bets, Sky Bet sponsor the EFL. So I just wanted to know from you personally, do you feel like there's too much of a prevalence of betting, not just in football but in sports in general?
For me personally, yes. I think it's an issue that football and betting are so closely linked. Also in other sport industries, I think it's not right from my perspective. And I think there was some really good articles, was it iNews and The Guardian or something like that about the influence of gambling for footballers and what it does. And I think the education part in general is crucial for everyone. Because obviously there's been a lot of cases where potentially could have been different.
So do you think more needs to be done in terms of educating not just the players but people in general?
Yeah, 100%. Players, everyone involved, everyone in who want to gamble. Education is a key thing, and also clear rules.